friends, good evening. Welcome to Serbia, Belgrade. Another very nice day, practically another summer day in Belgrade at the beginning of autumn. Driving the streets of Voždovac, Lekino Brdo. Unusual, I mean, well, one can say unusually, but it's not so unusual, I mean, in such a nice weather. However, this will last only tomorrow more, and then as of the weekend there will be a sharp temperature drop as high as 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. Listening to the Nostalgia radio, some of the XU songs. What I wanted to talk about is another analysis of the Swedish model of fighting against COVID-19. Now many countries, how to say, reconsidering, I mean not really reconsidering implementing Swedish model now at this point of time, because probably it wouldn't be appropriate, but generally analyzing the Swedish model and the pros and cons. The cons, as far as the cons are concerned, they had a much higher number of deaths compared to the other Scandinavian countries. Let's say that they are mostly comparable to Norway and Finland to a certain extent. And, okay, Denmark is a bit smaller, so not comparable so much to Denmark. But Sweden, if I remember correctly, they had something close to 6,000 death cases, whereas the other Scandinavian countries were something like 1,000 or less. From that perspective, it doesn't look that Swedish model brought any good. But now, given the fact that they are not facing with the second wave, whereas practically all other countries are facing the second wave, or somebody call it the second peak of the first wave, because practically the epidemic did not stop. The first wave did not stop, it just continued, slightly slowed down and then continued increasing, kind of the second peak. So from that perspective, it seems to me that many countries are now considering again and analyzing. The problem with the Swedes was that they somehow accidentally let the COVID go into the nursery houses, especially the ones for elderly people. I'm not really familiar with the exact term of how do you call it, but let's say nursery homes for elderly. So if it wasn't for that, and they had quite a number of deaths of the elderly people, which was the problem, and this is why they had been faced with a lot of criticism of their model, etc., etc. However, as I said, they are not facing, at least not yet, the second wave. According to their measurements, they did not reach the desired immunity of the herd. However, something strange happened. It seems that there are certain people that they did not gain immunity, but they are not affected by the COVID, even if they get in touch with the COVID. So more and more there is another term that is being used, is being in touch with COVID. So being in touch does not necessarily mean that you got the immunity. It's just that you got in touch and it's either affected you or didn't affect you at all. But it seems that if it didn't affect you at all, it is not going to affect you. So there is a percentage of population that gets in touch with COVID that do not get do not create the immunity, the organism, but practically it's kind of how to say, ring fenced against COVID, something like, I would use that term.